Good morning, Network Empire. This is Tech Foundation Certification Level 1. I'm so glad that all of you can make it, and it looks like we still have people logging on into the room. And just got on with Matt. We've been talking about this event. It's one of our favorite modules. We are on week 6. Week 6 is the infamous one feed to rule them all RSS backlinking and content automation system. Among many other things. So as people start to come in and get settled down, I would like to just put a query out there and make sure that you guys can hear me. If you can hear what I'm saying, just give me a 1 on your keyboard inside the question area so that I know that you guys can hear me. And I'd like to say good morning to everybody as they come in. There's lots and lots of new faces. Hello, Joshua. Good to see you. Welton, also good to see you. I'm assuming that you're in the Hawaiian Islands, or you're on the Big Island. I'm not sure if you're still there. Jarrett and Mitch, Mark, lots of new people coming in. I'm hoping that we will also see a few other ones. Honolulu, okay, good. And one of the things that we want to make sure is that you're able to understand and follow the basic concepts of the one feed. This is the point where you're starting to get set up for the next Tech Foundation courses, such as the Part 2 and ultimately Part 3. A working understanding of the safe and evergreen automation systems that we teach will prepare you for the more advanced training in months and years to come. As you guys know, this is a perpetual mastermind training session. That is a group and a content, it's a membership-based model that was invented by myself, Matt, and Sue. And in that content model, if for some reason you don't get or understand something fully right now, you will understand it fully later on. You are free at any time to jump into upcoming events, of course, minus the personal coaching and the one-on-one coaching that Matt provides, and I provide sometimes, and also minus any of the automatic keyword research that you get during your initialization, your early processes. So that's one of the reasons that people really enjoy this course. Jared is asking, are there any updates on the next Certification 2 startup date? I will get back with you on that, Jared. We did not plan any remaining Level 2 updates this year. Obviously, it's getting towards the end of the year. However, we are about to add that to the calendar. I would like to add that on each one of the training pages. There is a calendar, and there's a universal calendar. So that's a great question, and Sue and I were talking about that yesterday. Matt is actually also working on Certification Level 4, which is a real whopper. He and I were just talking about that. So main takeaway here this morning, I'll get back to you on that, Jared. Main takeaway here this morning, if for some reason you don't get it this time around, you can come back in later. And it's also for us. A perpetual mastermind process is also for us. Things are changing on the web. We can't have a university-style training school anymore where you go to Harvard and you take this course and this is what the course is. In fact, education in general, worldwide, globally at the university and even the high school level is changing so profoundly that a lot of the educational systems and processes are outmoded because they do not last. The educational requirements that you have digitally are much more extreme and much more flexible. The requirements are much more flexible right now. So that is one of the reasons that we don't want to charge you guys over and over again to audit these certification courses because so much is changing. We want you to be able to use our software, incorporate our methods and techniques, and roll with the changes that happen probably, I'd say, every quarter or so, maybe every 3 months to 4 months. There is either a minor or major change in which we add those changes. So if you guys understand that perpetual mastermind model, just give me a thumbs up and a number 1. We've had lots of, and a 2 if you're uncertain, so I can get with you later and run down. There are, Matt and I were surprised in the early launch of this course that we had somewhere between the ballpark of 20 and 25 students or more that didn't know that they could come in at any time. They thought they had to pay again when we launched other live webinar series. And I have to say that shocked me. I just wasn't clear enough on, no, once a member, always a member. What happens in Fight Club stays in Fight Club. And you guys are grandfathered. You guys are grandfathered in forever to these certification level trainings. Now, that does not include the payment of your membership and your software, all these other things, but you get access to these training courses. All right. If you when it comes to the one feed to rule them all process, give me a 1 if you feel like you, on a scale, actually let's try this. On a scale of 1 to 10, when it comes to the one feed to rule them all process and system, everybody type in a number, 10 being the incredibly best understanding ever. You're implementing it every day. You're automating your backlinks. You're getting higher page rank. You're safely with evergreen and not without generating a penalty, content penalty or anything. You understand the one feed would be a 10. And 1 would be you don't really understand anything about it. It scares you and maybe even creeps you out. Give me a number so that I know where everybody sits. Okay, so far it doesn't have any 1s. We have a 6. We have a 7. Okay, Mitch, I'm really glad. Mitch has been with us. Mitch is an example of somebody who's using the mastermind process very effectively. He comes in, retakes and audits the courses that he wants, and he's saying that he's now at a 6 or 7. Sorry, Mitch. And that's really great to hear, Mitch. Also, I know you're in other of our training courses. Weldon's saying that he understands it conceptually as a 7, but wants to implement it. Yeah, I think implementation would be like a 9 or, like an 8 or 9. I agree with you, Weldon, on that. Okay. So with no further ado, I'm going to get out of Matt's way. He's going to roll in this. I have one other thing happening on our server that I need to go fix that I broke when I was testing our brand new simple SEO silo plugin. So I'll be right back after I just get on with the server side person. And Matt, thank you so much for being here. And I'll step out of the way and I'll be back in 5 minutes. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Russ.
Thanks.
Okay, guys, how's it all going? Can you guys give me a 1 if you can hear me clearly, please, just so I can see that I'm loud and clear? Awesome. Great. Okay, guys, so I've finished off all the drilling of the keywords. You should have gotten your keywords already. I think I've got one more package to send off, and then that's all the keywords ready for you guys. We had a few issues with the Kraken over yesterday and over the weekend, so that's been resolved and up and running. Okay, so let's see where we are. We're at week 6 now, and what we discussed last week was the whole Network Empire's DWS silo builder, where we went into DWS, we mapped out our silos, we looked at our keyword data, we told the story, okay? Then what we did is we exported the XML out, went to our WordPress blog, and we hoovered in that XML, and we bolted on our first silo. Can you guys give me a 1 if you've understood that process and you're clear on it, and 2 if you are not? I just want to make sure that that's covered before we move on with how to use the tools, how to map out the silos. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, Mark, your keywords are finished. I'm going to be sending them off to you as well. I finished them off this afternoon. Okay, so one thing I wanted to say to you guys, which I never covered clearly last week, was just something I want you to think about when you're mapping out your silos. Can you guys give me a 1 if you understand what the meaning of a placeholder page is, and 2 if you don't? Okay. With the recent changes that have been going on, and with all the penalties and the things that are happening, what I wanted to quickly talk to you about here was just the domain name when you're actually mapping out your silos. What you want to think about when you're actually building your silo structure and mapping it out is how to use broader terms at the top level of your actual architecture. So let's just say, for example, we've got a domain called domain.com, okay? And then we've got another domain, which is, this is called an exact match domain. Domain.com. When you map out your silos, guys, what you want to be careful of is the keywords that you're targeting. If the keyword is in the domain, okay, let's just say it's the exact match domain, you don't want to have exact match dash or best dash exact match / exact match product. Okay, can you guys all see this clearly? This URL string I've done here. This is one thing I just make very clear to you guys, because it's got to do with our silo architecture and the way that backlinks come back in. And when we set up the one feed system, we're creating backlinks in an automated way when we're actually broadcasting and sending our message out across the web. Okay, so with exact match domains, what you want to really do is essentially start cutting out the keyword and using placeholder pages at the silo level, and if you're going all the way down to like the supporting article level, you could even cut the keyword back like this, and then you can have exact match dash product name. Okay, and what we're essentially doing here is, if this keyword is the one that you're targeting, okay, you don't want to have that keyword mentioned more than 2 times in the domain URL. This is very, very important. If you do, and you have exact match 2 or 3 times in the URL, as soon as you start pushing backlinks to this, okay, this is when you start getting little penalties and you start tripping up triggers. And the same happens especially when you start putting the exact match keyword in your titles as well. So what you want to do with your silo architecture, guys, is you want to actually tone down some of the same usage of words within the actual thing. So if you're targeting a keyword lower down in the vertical market, it's okay to use things like best / product / exact match product name. Can you guys give me a 1 if you understand that? Welton's asking, yes, so can we only use the exact match twice in each URL? Yes, you never want to have a keyword mentioned more than 2 times, else you start getting penalized for that. So when you're thinking about your story and you're thinking about mapping out the actual product, if we look at Kraken, one thing Kraken does is it gives us ancestral keywords, which are often very good. Let me just get to open Kraken up here. And I'll just jump into product. Okay, let's just go. Let's just look at the hair salon one here. Ah, there's no keywords in there. Let's get to another product. What I want to show you is just an idea of an ancestral keyword. So if we look at like car loans, for example, car loans, you've got a thing called cards. That's an ancestral keyword in Kraken. Okay. What you want to do is, in your silos, like with Sassy, for example, we used hair, we use wedding, we use makeup, we use single phrase words or top level keywords at the top end of the vertical market to start mapping out our structure. And that allowed us to actually introduce other keywords at the category level, not the ones that are lower down at the supporting articles. So I just wanted to bring that up. If you've got domain.com, which is like a random domain, then you've got a bit more freedom in your actual silos, categories, and supporting articles to play around with the keywords. But try not to ever get the same keyword running all the way through the entire URL, because as soon as you put it in the H1 tag, as soon as you stick it into the actual title of the page, then that's where you start picking up these little penalties. So when you map out your silo architecture, loosen it up a little bit, and you can use broader terms, because essentially you don't care if you get ranked for best, you don't care if you get ranked for product, you actually want to get ranked for that specific page. And when we actually look at the theme of the actual silo architecture, the internal links that are running up and down the silo within the theme, that gives you enough weight to get ranked for that keyword, which means we use less backlinks. Okay. Can you guys give me a 1 if you're clear on that? I just wanted to make sure that I covered that today before we jumped into the 1 feed. Because it'll all become clearer as we get later on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this up over here so we can look at it later on. And let's get stuck into the 1 feed. Right. So week 6 is typically where we go and we set up our blog. Okay. And this is the WRS1 blog. This is what we call the broadcasting engine. All the business's promotions, all the keywords that we have in DWS that are almost educational based keywords, all those type of things that are not in the WR1 money site, we can use in the WRS1 blog, okay? And this is where we're going to talk about what the business is doing. We're going to introduce our products. We're going to write articles about how the products work and how to best use them, and we're going to push this out across the web. Now, the reason why we use RSS, guys, is so that we can actually automate the process. This is a very, very important part. So I'm going to pull up another little chart here. Can you guys give me a 1 if you can see this chart? Actually, here's the URL. I'm going to stick into the chat room in GoToWebinar. And you can open up on your local machine. And I'll zoom in here. Can you guys see this? Can you give me one if you can see this clearly? Okay. So who knows where you find your RSS feed on your blog? Can you guys just write into the chat window where you think the actual feed is, if you had to put in a URL? /feed. Okay, awesome. The guys are like fast draws over here. That's perfect. Okay, cool. So what we have here is /feed. So when we do that, what that gives us is the RSS feed that comes out here. Now we can see over here that this feed is empty. There's nothing in here. So what we have to do at week 6 is we're going to set up a blog. Typically in the course show you how to clone a blog. You can do it. It saves a lot of time. If you don't want to do it, you can just reinstall it using Softlicious or Fantastico. And you want to get your blog set up. And the one thing we're going to do with the blog is we're essentially going to mirror the silos. So I'm going to put up Sassy here. And when we set up a blog, all we're going to do is we're going to mirror the top level categories of our actual WR1 money site to start off with. Okay, this is taking a while. Okay, so in my blog I'll have hair, I'll have wedding, I'll have makeup. With the new changes we're going to be releasing on Sassy in a while, it's going to be beauty as well. That's where they're doing the fingernails and all that kind of stuff for the girls. All the beauty type of services that are out there. So there's a whole new style we're going to add to the business over here. Okay, so on your blog, you just want to have hair, wedding, and makeup. And the reason why we're mirroring the silos at the silo level is because we want to still keep the theme that's running for our blog, but we're going to target other kinds of keywords, and the conversations are going to be more loose than they would be on the money site. On the money site here, the WR1, we're focusing on the business, we're focusing on the products, we're focusing on the services. We're getting straight to the point, so when the guys land on this website, they know exactly what they have to get. Bang, they buy, the transaction happens. On the blog, we're more chatty, we're talking more about the company, we focus more on what we're doing, what our promotions are. Okay, so the way this is going to work is essentially every time we write a blog post, and I was going to do one quickly over here, just for example, let's drag this in here, stick that in there. So I'm going to go to posts, add a new post. When we look at our feed, if we don't have a post written, the feed's going to be empty. Okay, so before you can set up your one feed, just make sure that you have your first article in here, okay, or in draft mode before you publish it, before you set the one feed up, so that when you do publish it, that first blog post that you create runs all the way through the feed, goes through all the setups that I'm going to show you shortly, and then hits Facebook, hits Twitter, and that's how you test to see if it's working. Okay, so over here, I'm just going to create a new one called Hello World. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to publish that. And we refresh our feed. Hello world, this is a post. Now as soon as I press that publish button, essentially that post is going to start traveling through the one feed system that we're going to set up. Now when we look at our framework, essentially we've got our WRS accounts. Okay, now I typically call those the big 5 as a minimum, and that's what we're using Twitter, we're using Facebook, we're using Pinterest, we're using Google+, and we're using YouTube. Those are basically the big 5 accounts that we have, and each of those we are going to connect up so that when we broadcast, it runs out to all our channels. Now we start off with our YouTube account. Now when you look at this chart, you can actually see the path to the YouTube feeds. Okay. Then we've got our blog, which is domain/feed, which is our RSS2 format feed, okay? Here's 2 feeds that are coming out. These are the mail feeds, okay? We call them mails because they're coming out. What we're going to do now is we're going to take tools like Yahoo Pipes, and we can actually mash those 2 feeds together, And we can use services like OnlyWire. Now there's a common question in this application where guys say, must we use OnlyWire or must we use Twitter feed? You don't have to use them. We just put the two examples in to show you one form of scheme of how we've connected things together to create this automated loop, which then brings back all the posts to our actual, brings back traffic and backlinks to our post every time we write them. Okay, so what we got here essentially is YouTube, our blog. We're going to Yahoo Pipes and we're combining the two together. So every time we publish a video, this pipe will hit our one feed. Every time we publish a blog, this pipe we've created will push it out through the one feed as well. Now you can take that YouTube URL and you can feed into Twitter feed, which at the time of this image was talking to Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Or you can take it and you can push it through OnlyWire, which submits to like 50 other networks. One thing you have to be very, very aware of when working with RSS and one feeds is where's the mail joint, what is it coming from, and where is that information going to go through. Sometimes people get mixed up and they start pushing their feeds through OnlyWire, they start pushing it through Twitter feed, but then they're using the same accounts in these other hub type applications that distribute the actual message for us. Okay. Now what you want to do is you want to make sure that the channels that you're pushing through are very specific and you're very clear on what you're doing, because if you mix it through two channels, every time you do a blog post you'll actually get two posts at the end destination. Can you guys give me one if you understand that part of what I said to you about keeping your feeds tidy when you're creating them and being aware of what's being published and where it's going to end up? Or two if it's not clear. Okay, now this is where it gets a bit funny. So let's look at this whole story in a simple way. Let's just put a big X through OnlyWire. Let's just pretend we're not using OnlyWire. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to YouTube and we're going to get our feed. We're going to go to our blog and we're going to take our feed. Now you can even cross out Yahoo Pipes. You don't have to use Yahoo Pipes. You can go directly from your blog. Even if you don't have a YouTube account, you can take your blog, you can take the feed, which is /feed, like we've seen over here. Okay. And we can go to Twitter feed and we'll set up our account and it will actually ask us for our blog RSS feed. We copy and paste that feed into Twitter feed and we save it. We then put in our account details for Twitter, for Facebook, and if you want to use LinkedIn, and we confirm that they're working, and then we can write a post here, post it, and what's going to happen is as it hits Twitter feed, it's going to do a split and post automatically whatever it can post to these social platforms. That's basically as simple as it is. What happens is that feed appears on Twitter, and if your headline is addictive enough, if it's clickable enough, okay, if it's actually creating the people wanting to find more information, they'll click on that and the traffic will come back to the originating blog post. But you also get a backlink coming back, which means you've got domain authority flowing back to your actual blog, which is on a www subdomain. Sorry, it's on a subdomain, not on a www. And that subdomain then inflates the primary domain, which means your top-level website, your WR1, inherits that domain authority as well. It gets a portion of it. Okay, so that's how we create this loop and this feedback loop back into our site. So we bring traffic and backlinks back in. And that's just applying one component. Twitter feed is a component, and the action we're taking is we're taking our URL, we're submitting it, and then we're putting Twitter, Facebook, and maybe LinkedIn into that whole process. It's actually very, very simple. Now if we go to Twitter feed, to sign up is super, super easy. It's basically just one little form you fill in, and that's it. Create your account, add your feeds, track your feeds. So let's just go back here. That's essentially all we're doing. It takes less than 5 minutes. And the thing about the one feed, when you're using Twitter feed as an example, when you're using these hubs, these components, and we're plugging them onto our WR1 framework, these type of components save us a lot of time. We take our feeds from our accounts, we push them through Twitter feed, and that gives us the syndication of our messages getting broadcasted to these other properties. Now, when we go back to the image, once you understand that simple configuration, you can go to OnlyWire, you can take the Pro service, and you can submit to 50 other accounts. Okay. The biggest thing you've got to be careful of is not having your feeds go through two of these components, these hub type components, and having it posting back. So if you've got Facebook and Twitter feed, don't use Facebook in OnlyWire. That's essentially what I'm saying, because that feed's coming through and it's going to hit OnlyWire. So never have the same social properties on two different hub sources. Does that clarify that? Can you guys give me one if you understand what I'm saying? Okay, it sounds complicated, guys, but when you set this up, it's simple. And the thing is this, you set up once and you forget about it. It's not something you have to go back and maintain. Only if something changes and breaks, then you go back and tweak it. But basically, once it's connected, every time you write a blog post, whack, it'll hit your Facebook or hit your Twitter, and it'll hit all the other social properties that you built on. Okay, so typically what you want to do is start with your big five. Start with your Twitter, your Facebook. If you're going to do business-to-business type of sales, connect your LinkedIn page, set up Pinterest, set up your Google+. Google+ is super important for local stuff, and have your feed run through that, okay? And that'll get that basic thing set up. When you've done this and you're comfortable with this, then look at other services like OnlyWire, for example, and say, what can I use over here? Boom. Then once that's working, we can take Social Explosion. That's another component we can add. And we'll take our feed, we'll stick our feed into Social Explosion, and every time you do a blog post, Social Explosion will push it through all the third-party platforms we have no control over, and we'll inherit traffic, backlinks, and everything from that network, that social signals network. The social signals are super good for your website, okay? When I was in Phoenix, soon I was looking at one of the domains that got a penalty, and we were just looking, okay, what happened with this? And we had left Social Explosion running along for about 2-3 months when there was a manual review on the actual site. The site got pulled out of the index, left Social Explosion for a few months, we came back, and the site was still getting traffic throughout the entire period, and then Google came back without us changing anything and actually re-included the website back into the thing. It was quite an interesting case study to see as it folded out. So there's a whole bunch of questions here. I'm just going to quickly answer them quickly. So Welton's asking, so if our headline and content is compelling enough, more links will come back to us. See, Welton, when we move from the WR1, we'll be converting and closing sales, and we've set up our transaction engine. We're moving from the transaction closing the sell type of mindset into the promotional broadcasting, telling the world about who we are and what we are and what our services and products are and what our products do. Okay, so the headlines and the stories, the more compelling they are and the more they're left with the open hook when we're broadcasting, like Russell spoke about persuasion last week. When those links go out there and use the article factory type of method for creating your articles, when those sentences get chopped up and they get pushed through Twitter, those sentences typically are compelling. Okay, and if your headlines are compelling, you encourage the click. When you encourage the click, you get the person hitting your page. When they're on your site, within your network, they'll see your banners, they'll see your content, and they may even buy right there on the blog, or they might hop across to the WR1 and buy over there. It depends on how you set this up. Now, what I want to make very clear to you guys today, with the story between the WR1 money site and the WRS1 blog, there's no problem linking between the blog from the money site, and there's no problem linking from the blog to the actual money site. You can link to each one as long as the information you're linking to is relevant to the actual story. One thing you don't want to do is you don't want to link across your silos unless it's really necessary to help the user. User experience tops any technical output, okay? But you don't want to go nuts and have hundreds of links running everywhere on your site. Keep it tidy. That's one of the rules, okay? So when your headline, your content is compelling and is speaking to the pain of the market personality that we're dealing with, and they're left with a question, there's an open hook, so you don't tell them the whole story, they will click and they'll hop across to your blog where you tell them more of the story, you show them a video, and you suck them in, and you try and close them right there, or you translate them or redirect them to your money site through a link or through a banner. Okay. That's when you start getting more backlinks coming in. Now remember with the case study that I've got a few little tweaks to make in the case study. Russell's pointed out a few things that weren't clear. I'm going to have those out for you. But next week when you get the case study, what you're going to basically see in this case study is how the technical design of the silo architecture, just the silo architecture itself, how it gets you to rank for multiple keywords with far fewer inbound links. Now in that case study, we got probably 40% visibility on all our keywords, which means out of all the 100 keywords I'm tracking, most of them are ranked in page 1. And that's with 2 backlinks. It's quite interesting. But all my other keywords are also sitting over there as well. They've all been pulled in. Okay. So that's the effect. Now when we start putting our WRS on our money blog and we start broadcasting, this is where we start bringing in more backlinks that are organic, we start bringing in more traffic, and with Social Explosion, we bring in the social signals, which creates the buzz, and that helps your site float even more up and increases your visibility through all the rankings. Okay. Walter's asking, is Yahoo Pipes more powerful? All Yahoo Pipes does, Welton, is it allows you to basically combine feeds. So you can take 5 feeds from 5 different places, you can put them through Yahoo Pipes and it'll give you one feed out. You can take it one feed and you can stick it in wherever you want to stick it in. You can put it into your blog, you can put it into Twitter feed, you can put it into OnlyWire. Depends what you want to do with the actual feed that's coming out of Yahoo. Okay. Now there are a lot of tricks and things that you can do with Yahoo Pipes, but we don't cover it in this course. It's a bit more advanced and I don't want to create any confusion at this point in time. I just want to give you guys the starting blocks now to get it set up, get familiar with it, start experiencing the power of what the one feed gives your whole network, and then from there you can start expanding by adding more and more components. Okay. Mark saying you can use a different Twitter account in OnlyWire, different than Twitter feed. Yes, you can. You can use 2 different accounts for Twitter if you're using 2 different components over here, like OnlyWire and Twitter feed. You never want to use the same one. There's no problem using more Twitter accounts to do different things, but never mix the same accounts on these type of components because you'll get duplicate posts. Because every time you do a blog post, it's going to hit OnlyWire. OnlyWire is going to push it to Twitter. It's going to hit your Twitter feed, but then at the same time, Twitter feed is going to be pushing it as well, and you get that post appearing twice. You start getting these duplicate entries, and it's going to be across every single component within your network. And it's a pain in the butt to go and clean it up. That's basically what the problem is, because you have to go and delete those posts across the entire network. So if you start seeing duplicate posts coming on, somewhere in your configuration at the back here, you've got a single account that's connected by 2 of these hub type components. Okay. Mitch is asking, is it necessary to always mash up YouTube with your blog feed? No, Mitch. This picture I'm showing you, I'm just showing you different ways to connect things. Okay. So if we look at what we got here, here's our WRS accounts. Okay. Here's more WRS accounts. We're taking feeds out of these social accounts and we're pushing them into our other primary social accounts, and through OnlyWire 50 other networks. There's probably more now. Okay, so we've got a feed out and then we've got feeds that are coming in. So the OnlyWire accepts a feed in, Twitter accepts a feed in, and then it pushes that feed out again to multiple places. Okay, so you don't have to use YouTube with the blog. I've just shown those 2 together to demonstrate how Yahoo Pipes brings them together and then pushes them out. Okay. So what you can see here, we've got multiple feed search engines, there's multiple RSS directories, there's social networks that take feeds, and what we can do with this is we can create our own types of schemas, our own types of designs, like this type of image I've given you as an example, and we can have our information flow across the web in any form that we have. We have complete control. So with the one feed, it's something you want to just have a good think about of how you want to broadcast your message across the web and to whom you want to send the message to. Now in Sassy's example, Twitter's popular, Facebook's popular, Google Plus is not that popular in her market, and Pinterest is super popular. Okay, so in my type of setup, I would definitely be focusing on Pinterest, Twitter, and Facebook as my primary accounts. With YouTube, super popular as well, but the challenge we have is getting the business owners to actually sit and make videos. They're great at taking pictures and doing Facebook posts, but they're camera shy. Then it's a hard thing to get them on camera. Okay, so it depends on what type of business you're working with and who the people are and what they want to do at that point in time. But does this give you guys a good top level idea of what the one feed's all about? Just give me a one if you guys are clear, because if I can get this clear to you, and you can set this up in literally 2 hours, it's all done. That's your job done. If you just use your basic social accounts, and that's it. And you just use Twitter feed as the example. Only way you got to pay for it. Okay, so let's have a look here at what we've got to do this week. Go one back. Give me a one. How many of you guys actually got your sites up and have gone into DWS and started playing around creating your first silo? Remember, the silo is a single silo with no less than 3 categories. Give me one if you guys have got that far yet, or 2 if you haven't. Okay, right. What you need to do, so you guys are still basically in the zone here. Okay, so you're going to have your keywords this week. All I want you guys to do is to create a single silo on your WR1 and a minimum of 3 pages. If that's all you can get done for this week, that's awesome. Because then what we're going to do is we're going to get our blog set up. That's the next thing you have to do. Okay, you get your blog set up, and we have to create one post which we can keep on draft. Then what we're going to do is we're going to start setting up the one feed. So we're going to set up our Twitter feed account. We're going to take our Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube account, and we're going to basically get them all connected, and we're going to press publish, and we're going to publish that post, and we're going to watch how this runs through the social properties. Okay, once you've got that done, then your one feed set up. Then what you do is you come back into your loop and you can create your next silo. Bring it up, put the content live, go to your blog, write a blog post about what you just published. That then goes through the one feed, sends traffic and backlinks back into your silo. When you start creating this loop, what you're essentially doing is you're bringing the traffic in, and these are things you can start tracking and watching through webmaster tools. Through Google Analytics and Google Webmaster Tools, you can actually start seeing them coming back. Okay, so week 7 is where we're going to be posting our first blog. Okay, so you guys are not far behind, but essentially I need you guys to be on week 7, because next week we want to test this and we want to start talking about it and playing around with the blog post. Because once we've got our blog post running out, in week 8, this is where we're going to look at analytics, and we're going to look at the dashboard I've created for you guys, which you can use in Google Analytics, and you can actually watch what happens with your blog posts as you put them out there and you see the traffic coming back in. If your post goes viral, you'll see the traffic in real time coming in. Okay, so what we have here, guys, is setting up the one feed system in the course. Okay, and all we need is YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+, Scoop, and Storify. Those are the basic accounts you need, okay? And when you watch this video, you'll see how we actually get this all set up. We've got the definitions of XML, RSS, and what blogging and pinging is. Once you've done that, we then give you another video where we set up Twitter feed. And we've got another video for you guys of how to use Yahoo Pipes. So while that's loading, let's just see what's happening there. Yeah, so here's Twitter feed. You can see it's a short little video. It's like 5 or 10 minutes long, but that's how fast it really takes to set up. You sign up, you put your feeds in, bang, that's your job done. Using our pipes, over here we go through and we show how to use this, and there's a more complex version if you click on that link there for the more complex version of the one feed system, okay? And over here is a webinar. Watch this webinar over here, because on the schema you can sort of get to see what we've done. There's our WR1 money site with our silos. There's our blog, okay? And as we publish, you can sort of see, I talk you through this whole process of how everything starts moving around, and you get to see how everything's connected. Okay, so what I want you to do this week is I want you to watch the week 6 webinar replay so you can go through this one, because we went into a lot of detail technically showing you how this all connects up. And I want you guys to all get up to speed this week. So when we get to the analytics part of the course, we can actually start looking at our sites and we can see where things are working and what's going wrong and what's Google Webmaster Tools saying to us. Okay, so what I want to do now, guys, have you got the basic idea of what the one feed does? It's not extremely complex with what we're showing you now. All we're wanting you to do at the moment is set up this basic framework. In Tech 2, we take this basic framework and we add even more components, which makes it much more complex. So I want you guys to know that once you've done this, we can even expand on this current type of setup that we have over here. Okay, so if you guys, have you got the basic about one feed? Is that all clear to you? Is there any questions you'd like to ask me with regards to one feed? Okay. Can you give me one if you guys are all clear on that? I just want to make sure that you got it.
And also, if you guys need anything, I'm also here. If you have any questions on the marketing side of things.
I was going to get to that right now, Russ.
Okay.
Like what they must think about on the promotion side.
Sure.
So there's a question here. What is Snap? Snap's a plugin that basically we use to post to Pinterest and Google+. Have you got any comments on Snap, Russ?
Snap is not something that I personally use, mostly because my thoughts about Snap are that anything that's installed in your WordPress blog is going to weigh on it a little bit. And my WordPress blogs are a little bit heavy because I'm automating a lot of the backlinks and traffic systems via things like Social Explosion and these types of things. So I try to, after you're doing this for a few years, you guys will start to realize that you don't want to load your blog up with dozens of plugins that are doing high-level functions. You want to pick the best of the best, keep it lean. So Snap is we can drop you the link to Snap. I think we have a link to it somewhere in the members area. If not, we will provide that for you. So I don't have that link right now, but I'll get it for you. It is something that we've tested.
Okay.
It does have a few functions. I personally use Hootsuite. The reason I use Hootsuite is it's lean, doesn't require a plugin. I can just take, in order to keep my blogs light, I like to just grab an RSS feed and shove them through wherever possible. That way when WordPress changes or whatever, plus, we're managing Social Explosion, that's a fairly intensive plugin. So that's one way to automate. OnlyWire is another way to automate your plugin. To automate your RSS feed. So somebody else is saying, would we get anything from standalone course from, I don't understand that, Jarrett. I'm sorry. Can you ask that question again? I
think he's referring to the one feed course, Russ. I'm not sure. But if he can clarify, it'd be cool.
The one advantage of Snap, Mark, is that they have done a pretty good job of automating the Google Plus personal page. OnlyWire has recently added a Google Plus personal page. Hootsuite automates only the business page, the biz pages, meaning you can stick a feed right into the biz page. Google does not want people automating their personal Google Plus pages. They've done everything in their power to make that difficult. Snap, one of the reasons we recommended Snap is because it does seem to auto-post quite well to Google Plus. Social Explosion, which is our plugin, does not yet automate to Google Plus personal because of the cost of doing so. It's in progress, but the cost of doing that is quite intensive because of the amount of things. However, I personally don't need to publish to Google Plus personal updates. I would rather publish to the biz pages for a variety of reasons. Let's think about this for a second. Why would publishing automatically to a Google Plus biz page be more valuable than publishing to a Google Plus personal status update? In other words, is it really worth the trouble and the hassle of for example, Snap has been up and down with brokenness with the Google Plus function. They were down for a few months and they went back up. OnlyWire, same thing. OnlyWire does publish to a Google Plus personal status update. They go up and down because Google continually makes it difficult. Whereas I've been automating Google Plus biz pages for 1.5 years on some of my test sites with 0 downtime. And that's something for RSS automation that I've never seen before, even Tweet Adder and all these other things that go down. So what I've elected to do, just so you guys know, is I like to select things that have the least downtime, the most automation, are the most stable, and I don't really like free services. Neither OnlyWire or Hootsuite is free. Hootsuite is actually owned by a multi-billion-dollar company, Hearst Media, of which, in fact, Sue and I have met the vice president of the social department and SEO department of Hootsuite. So one of the reasons I like to use Hootsuite is I know they have unlimited funds to make sure that they're continually coding that. Whereas you have things like Snap that's coded by a fairly small company and they're up and down. Main thing for you guys to understand is that, I think I really should give you this, Google Plus Biz page, when you fill out does everybody know, give me a 1 if you guys know the difference between a Google Plus Biz page and a Google Plus personal status page. You guys understand that? Give me a 1 if you understand it, 2 if you do not. I know I'm kind of getting off the beaten path, but I want you to understand that a lot of these things are key in thinking about the power of an RSS feed. Okay. I think I'm probably going to have to change screens to show you guys this.
Do you want to have control of the screen, Russ?
Yeah, let me just hide all my porn. Hang on a second. I'm just messing with you guys, by the way. Probably not very funny to some of you. Okay. Or really funny to all of you. I'm not sure. Okay, let me see here. Let me view my profile. Yeah, I want you to pass me the screen, Matt.
Okay, there you
go. Okay. Can you guys see, which screen do you guys see?
That's not up yet.
Not my FTP access, I hope.
We see the brain.
Okay, good. This is a Google Plus. Okay, I'm just logged into my primary Google dashboard. Hopefully everybody understands the Google dashboard construct. Okay. Google dashboard means that Google works on a one-to-one basis. It's google.com/dashboard. You guys should all go to your browser right now and type in google.com/dashboard. Go ahead and do that right now with me. This could be a revelation moment for you guys if you are really kind of confused about Google. Can you guys go to your dashboard and see that? Can you guys let me know what you see when you go to your Google dashboard? Do you see this? Okay, good. So guys, this is the global international conspiracy to control your identity right here. If there was one ground zero for you to get freaked out about, this is it. This connects to all things. This is the international global conspiracy behind Google Skyfall, behind who Google is, what they're trying to do, and how they're trying to support you. I'm actually not a conspiracy theorist. I just want you guys to know that if I was to consider the power behind a company and which company out there compared to Facebook, compared to everything else, was the most organized in a 15-year plan to organize not only the world's data, but all of your data inside a centralized, unique, verified identity dashboard, which is your digital thumbprint tied to your real physical thumbprint in the physical world. It's this location. Okay, I don't talk about this type of stuff outside of certified advisors. Give me a 1 if you understand where I'm going with this, if you understand my general perspective. Give me a 1. Okay. Okay, some of you have read about Google Skyfall, which is Sue and Jimmy and myself and Matt talking about the nature of the future of what they're tracking and why. I'm not getting paranoid here. I just want you to understand that it makes sense, doesn't it? It makes sense that when Russell Wright is logged in, see him and his little icon up here to the right? Everybody see that stuff? That's my little image that I uploaded to Google+. Okay? The Google+ dashboard is a one-to-one relationship to your login, which is normally your Gmail login. And every application that you tie to your Gmail account, right here, every other application that you connect your account to, your maps, your location, is all connected on the back-end dashboard. When the NSA, I mean Google, tries to find out what you've been up to with any given dashboard, they're going to connect these services, right? They know that my analytics account and my webmaster account and my Google Calendar and even my Android, if I connect via Android, which I do, I have a Samsung 4 phablet. Whenever I'm using any of those things, everything that I'm doing is connected into a cluster of ideas, like a neural network. Okay, this is why I'm so much into neural networking. They're already doing that, but they're not just doing it on the web in terms of IDs, in terms of web links. They're doing it indigenously as well for every Google dashboard. So the dashboard is the location in which you manage your account. They give you a strong sense of control over these things. You'll probably notice that they've actually removed the second tier and third tier content connections. In 2013 they did that. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because the Google Plus function is the final end game that Google is using to connect your social life to this dashboard. Now, the reason this is related to the one feed is because when you first fill out your dashboard, you can see this is what you call your personal. You can see Russell Wright up here, Russell Wright /posts. This is your personal. This is my personal post. Okay, so these are my personal status updates. Well, you also have underneath that your pages. If you guys all go to the left under pages, Welton had said that he didn't understand how to make pages. So Welton, when you're logged into your personal profile, you can only make pages, which are just another type of status update location, if you've already got a Google dashboard and you've already got a Google Plus profile set up. In other words, you have to take personal responsibility with a personal status update and a Google dashboard before they will let you build Google Pages. Or at least it's easier, so much easier that way. That's how most people do it. Give me a 1 if you understand that. So they've actually got you. They've forced you to take personal responsibility, put a personal name to a Google Gmail account and or your email account tied to a Google dashboard. Then they've forced you to create a personal identity, and then you can build pages tied to that Google dashboard. Does everybody understand that? So what I would do when I make pages, pages can be tied to a brand, like the last keyword tool, a product. Okay, here's one of Jimmy Kelley's pages, right? Manage this page. I like pages, even though they require a Google dashboard first, because I can automate them more robustly. So what I'm really saying is that it's very easy to automate Google Plus Biz pages, but very difficult to automate Google Plus personal profiles, or at least less stable. You guys understand what I'm saying? Snap does it, only where it does it, but they're up and down. Okay, we're in the process of finding, we don't want to release a way to publish to your Google Plus personal unless it's a lot more stable than the other things out there, so we're working on that. So the reason that I prefer to automate these, let's go to Jimmy Kelley. Let's manage Jimmy Kelley's page since he's not here. Then we can talk about him. Just kidding. Okay, so can you guys see here that there's jimmykelley.org? You can also create new pages. Okay, so when you go to your business, you can either be a local market, you can be a brand, or you can be a community. This is actually, I think I created a personal brand for Jimmy on this. Okay, and again, this connects to everything else. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Let me just go ahead and go to the actual page. So what I'm doing is I'm essentially acting like a manager. You can create as many pages as you want. Welton asked how many pages can I create. Okay. So you can see that I've published one thing. This is a pretty new page. You go to the About Us page on these individual pages. Here's what I really want to. This is a secret, guys. Like, this is remarkably subtle. I spent at least an hour and a half at the live OMG event talking about this, and people just had a bit of a hard time getting their head around it. So notice that I'm in Jimmy Kelley biz page, and I have a one-to-one relationship. Of course, yes, I set this up on my Google dashboard. So that's kind of like an agency managing it. That's the agency of Russell Wright managing a web page for Jimmy Kelley or whatever. And just so you guys know that I have a one-to-one, I have a biz page for every single WordPress blog that I create, no matter if it's a one-to-one relationship. If it's a WR2 biz page, I will create a WR2 biz page in a completely different account. But please do wait for certification level 2 and 3, actually certification level 3 and 4, before you get worried about the WR2 layer, okay? Just stick with Matt. Just trust me that we're going to take you there when you're ready, okay? Point is that Jimmy Kelley's page here is a WR1 blog, meaning a money site. Okay, this is I don't mind as an agency organizing this biz page for him because it's a WR1 blog. There's no automatic video stuff happening or anything like that. Okay, but the subtlety is right here. Can you guys see this check mark? Give me a 1 if you guys can see where it says linked website.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. The reason you don't want to waste a whole bunch of time automating your Google Plus personal status updates with plugins and OnlyWire and Snap and all these things. It's great if you can, okay? It's great if you can. Especially on WR2s, it's great if you can. But that would only matter if you have a bunch of followers and circles on your personal status updates, okay? The reason it's more valuable to do this is because it's only on the Google Plus Biz pages, either local, brands, or products, that you get the linked data website. When you have this little green check mark, it means that you are actually a verified publisher. Okay, this site we're working on something, so just hold off on worrying about this for the moment. The images are down, which is why I was off the call a couple minutes ago. But the links, this is verified. Okay? When you have a verified page, it means that when you run this through schema.org, this is for your more advanced training that Matt will get into a little bit, and also at our live certification event. When you go through schema.org, Google actually views jimmykelley.org as a verified publisher that's approved. And this happens generally when you connect Google Webmaster Tools to the account and or you upload the file. And then you just come back here to the Google Plus page. Now what that means, I've noticed that gives your Google Plus pages more power and clout. Additionally, when you put that link back on your website, you're creating a relationship between your Google Plus Biz page and the site that you own. So this is one of the only reasons that you really need to, this is why automating your Google Plus Biz pages with something like Hootsuite is more powerful, or at least does not have a diminishing return, because then you've got your, hopefully everybody can see my screen here. It's not really working on this page because I'm logged in, but the Google Plus Biz page, as you know, is like a domain authority of 100, right? So when you're automating and you're getting those links back to your site on a Biz page, it's verified, and the relationship with your site is stronger because there's not a super strong relationship to your website with your Google Plus personal status update. The reason I'm showing you all this is I wanted you to understand, A, that the Google dashboard is the all-seeing eye of Solomon for Google as it relates to everything that you do, and that you should not be paranoid with it. You should just simply understand when you're creating a Google Gmail profile, if it's a WR1, Okay, and if you're going to be doing any funny business, make sure that you log in through a different IP address, okay, using things like we'll get into more advanced courses. For example, when you get into our more advanced courses, when we're building WR2s and WR3s, you want to create a different dashboard for those types of things. Give me a 1 if you guys understand all that. If you decide to play in that game, you just need to build a different dashboard. You don't want, for instance, your WR2 and your automatic video sites and all those stuff coming later for some of you, and some of you won't be interested in all, you'll be fine. You'll create other dashboards for that, okay? And your agency dashboard should stick with your money sites and your RSS feeds. So that's really what I'm saying is all of your Google Plus biz pages can be automated, okay? Yeah, I'm sure that you do, Welton, and Welton is saying he wants to hear about those other dashboards, and that's not in this course. That's why we have a graduation process, because until we feel that you guys are safe enough to understand the data flow on the web, the privacy, the IP addresses, the dashboards, how it all works on the big back end, then it doesn't make sense I'm giving you guys a sneak peek because I know that you have a sneaking suspicion about where everything is going. Okay. Welton asks, what course is that? When we get into other dashboards, that'll be certification level 3 and certification level 4 that Matt's working on now is going to have to get into some of that. But more and more, you'll find that we talk about that stuff at our live certification event. But you can deduce and and also I do sometimes I go off the handle like I am right now and start to crack that open a little bit for you. And you can read through a little bit of what I'm implying. But we do not teach WR2 dashboard creation in this first training course, but it is necessary for you to understand what not to do. What not to do is create a Google Plus biz page for anything that's questionable. Okay, for instance, when you go to the You Everywhere grid, oh wow, I have a page authority 27 on a flash animation. It's kind of a trip. So you can't, when you're getting out into here, for example, let's say you take my automatic video training course, okay, and you build one of these. Again, I have a unique Google dashboard when you get out here in your more advanced trainings. Don't put these under your agency dashboard. We create unique Gmail accounts and or unique dashboards for those, okay? That's all that you need to know right now. So if you're going to be doing any kind of engagement rank, I don't even call it auto blogging anymore because we don't follow auto blog standards. Anything that's engaging that keeps a lot of time on site, like videos and images, those might be published automatically, but they're organized in a way that actually keeps visitors on the site. You guys understand that? But those should have a unique one-to-one relationship with a unique person, a staff member, team member, or a profile, or a proxy profile. And those should be in their own dashboard. And those will have their own RSS feed. So that's why we don't really get into those things until you're more advanced certification training, because it's just not appropriate. But what is useful to know right now is that you don't want to have anything out here tied to your dashboard. This is the site that Matt and I are teaching you about throughout this training. This can be in a dashboard that is whoever owns the site. That can be a CEO, okay? And further, the Google Plus page or pages, it's usually one page to start, that's tied to your money site, which is your brand, your real person, your real brand. You can verify that site to verify as publisher. We'll actually create, Matt and I will make sure if you guys have questions on this, I'll put a little, I think I already have it in this course. We'll just make sure that you know how to verify this site. I'm not sure if Matt and I have added that to the course. It's really, really easy. It takes like 4 seconds. And that will help you very much get through that. So the one feed stuff he's showing you now, you can just drive through Hootsuite, or you can just put your RSS feed into Hootsuite and that'll run that through. So that's a long way around of explaining why I don't really care if you're automating your Google Plus personal status update. It's a pain in the ass. You can do it with Snap. The benefits are minimal unless you have a huge following. Now, if you're going to be building a circle of followers, and you would like to publish to your Google Plus status update every time, and that Google Plus status update has circles and friends that are very interested in what the brand is talking about, then it might be really nice to publish to your Google Plus updates. But for your backlinks, and you're powering up your domain through your Google Plus Biz page is a super important way to do that, because Google really designed those to support your business, where they designed the personal status updates for you to talk about your life. Does that make sense, you guys? Give me a 1 if that all kind of makes sense. Okay. Now, what's interesting is that a lot of people do a whole bunch of wrong things before they discover what I just explained to you guys in the last 5 minutes. It's a very strange thing. Yeah, Google, there's many things that you can do with your Google dashboard, but if you do it wrong, it's kind of hard to undo. You can do it, but it's a bit of a pain. So it's good to start thinking about this. And every once in a while, just go log into the account that you have, and go ahead and just check out your Google dashboard. Like, what are you connecting to stuff? Sometimes you'll find things that you didn't even know that you connected, like you didn't want to connect it, and you can unconnect it, more or less. I found out that my Android phone locations were being pretty much systematically archived by the Google dashboard. That means that the NSA indirectly knows where I'm at any given moment. Okay, I mean, it's not, guys, it's not even a conspiracy, it's just a fact. So it's a good thing to just be watching what's happening so that you understand. I'm not saying that big bad Google, who does have the NSA contract now, by the way, is evil. I'm just saying that's a whole different conversation. What I'm saying is that you have the right to know what is being connected to your Google dashboard and how to interact with that. Does that make sense, everyone? Welton has asked, I have an old Twitter page that I haven't used for a year, but it has lots of old posts. Should I use that or create a new account? Well, that will depend on whether that Twitter page, what I like to do, if you're talking about the site that Matt's working with now, so if you're talking about your WR1 Money site and it's your Twitter account, you're much better off using a Twitter account that has posts. The reason is it's probably got more page authority, Welton. So if you go to twitter.com and you go to, like you say you have an old profile, right? And you go to your personal tweets. One of the things that you want to be thinking about is, let me go back to, can you see this, Welton? Is this getting through the image share? Okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
You see how this is a page authority of 47? Welton, go ahead and install the Moz bar and then go to that Twitter account. Look at your page authority and look at your domain authority. Twitter has a domain authority of 100 now, which is actually quite remarkable, since normally Google only has that. That being said, ask your question again, Welton, with domain authority and page authority in mind. Is it better to start a new Twitter account or is it better to use an old one? Okay. The answer is going to be, I don't know. What is the page authority of that Twitter account? And generally speaking, the more tweets you have, the more followers you have, the higher your page authority, and the higher your page authority, and more importantly, your domain authority will always be 100, Welton. So if you open a new Twitter account, you will still have a domain authority of 100, but page authority is is the real kicker. Okay, so always use, this is why people try to sell you Twitter accounts that have page authority and domain authority, because they have higher value. They can power up. So when you're automating, I automate through Hootsuite. If you use Snap or you use the other things, I do want to point something out to you guys. It doesn't matter what URL link shortener you're using to drive links in the way that Matt has shown you with OneFeed to your Twitter page, specifically with Twitter, because Twitter has decided to hijack all link shorteners in the universe that are funneled to your Twitter account and automatically, as if by magic, transform them into a t.co. Give me a 1 if you knew that, or a 2 if you didn't. It's kind of important, because then you'll know why we're so fixated on Twitter, and it's one of our higher priorities in social explosion. Okay. So here's an Empire Weekly News update that was automatically posted on my Twitter account. Can you guys see that? I'm going to hover over, and you guys look down here in the left bottom corner of my screen, okay? I'm going to hover over just this automatic post. Notice that the link shortener was Aweber's. It's an autoresponder service. It was Aweber's own link shortener. I'm going to hover over it, Show me, can you guys see what you see down there? Can you see something in the left-hand corner? Is the screen big enough? You see,
Yeah, we can see it
you
right
see
now.
the t.co/, I don't care about what URL link shortener you used, 04Q73, because we don't give a crap. You see that? They jacked your link authority and reprojected their own, so they're just simply redirecting their own t.co on there. Okay? Now here's the good news. T.co backlinks are badass when they're indexed. Okay, they're way better than this Aweber link shortener. They're way better than Bitly. Welton, let me give you a pop quiz. Why would the t.co link shortener be better than a Bitly? Somebody, actually everybody, type in something. And we're talking about powering up your domain. Right, Vagaro says it's because it's from Twitter. Yes, but thank you, Vagaro. It's the DA, right? So all you would have to do would be go to bit.ly to determine which one is better. Okay. What is bit.ly? So what do you want? A domain authority of 91 or a domain authority of 100? All together now. Okay. So anyway, everything that goes through Twitter must get indexed, which is why Social Explosion, one of the features that we're currently working on right now in Social Explosion, is a guaranteed indexer. Because a lot of the times, if you even go to twitter.com/Matt Cutts, a lot of his tweets don't even get indexed. So we have to actively index your tweets in Social Explosion and other things. Then you get the juice, and you get the backlinks and the t.cos. Another thing that you guys may or may not know, I'm not going to accidentally leave a top secret tip here or anything. Traffic being driven through a t.co link to your website is significantly more valuable than traffic from other links. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay? All right. So hopefully that will answer your question, and that should give you a good idea of why automating through Twitter has a pretty decent priority, because it's such an easy thing to do compared for the domain authority. Okay, let's go back. Why would the same be true for Google+? Well, Google+ does not hijack. See, if you look down the lower part of the screen, if you go to the posts area, currently they are not redirecting. Okay, they give you them some pluses, but you can see that they're not inserting their own link shortener on there. Okay, I believe Pinterest has made some changes as well. But all I can tell you is that you will begin to see more and more individual social services with huge domain authority starting to insert their own link shorteners and deprecating other link shortener services that you try to automatically thread. Well, that's fine. We have evil plans for that. Don't worry. We know what's coming, and we're going to crush it. But it's important that you guys understand why. Welton's like, mwahaha. It's understand that I just want you guys to understand why we're doing the one feed system. One feed system is not some arbitrary, let's stick a bunch of Matt's not just trying to confuse you guys and, let's put all this stuff downstream. And everybody always gets all freaked out about dupe content and all this stuff. And I'm not saying it's not a factor. Jimmy gets into it a lot in our Traffic Hospital course. But the more important factor is to realize that these backlinks, when indexed, totally blow away your competition, and more importantly, during that index, when they're indexed, because they're social links, when you get both traffic and indexing, you get juiced up authority and power authority from those domains that really is hard to beat, because Google, the Google Partner Program and the Google Shared Database Program, which is also you can find, they really care about those social links. And when you do it right, instead of just spamming, you get a whole lot of power from those links, okay? So that's coming back to what we're saying, back to the one feed. When you're using the one feed, the purpose is not to, we're not trying to say, hey, drive your RSS feed through everything on the planet. We want, what I've shown you in the last 10 minutes will help you have a discernment about why you're getting backlinks. Don't just go through everything. Like if you go to a service and the domain authority is minimal, like a lot of times we get students that'll write myself or Matt, and they'll say, should I automate this social service? Well, you can if you want. Then we'll look at it. It's a new social service. The domain authority is like 30 or something. It breaks a lot. They're actually adding a load to their blog because they've installed some kind of new plugin to try to automate that backlink. Well, you don't really want, like, if something doesn't have a huge domain authority and a lot of power, I don't really want to, bear down the weight on my blog. I don't want to have a lot of processes on my blog running to automate that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that.
In the case study, you'll see that site speed has an impact.
Site speed has a huge impact. In fact, let's go ahead and I really feel like opening that thing. Should we open that up?
Which one? The case
The memory, or do you want to wait?
Let's just finish that and we just release it proper.
Okay, we'll release it proper. Sorry, I got excited about it. So we'll leave that off for now. But I'm going to go ahead and Matt, can you take the screen back? That I didn't expect. Sure. I didn't expect to rant on that. I just wanted you guys to know. I've talked to a lot of students lately, and they didn't really seem to understand always why they were using those backlinks. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Russ. Sure. So, guys, based on what Russ has told us, and what we've been learning over the last 6 weeks is essentially we always want to think about what components are we adding to the framework, what's the purpose of it, and is it going to enhance the framework or is it actually going to pull it down? So with the one feed that we're showing you guys here, this is why we're only focusing on your primary money WRS accounts, okay, because it's Facebook, it's Twitter, it's Pinterest. They're the big players. There's a lot of trust that runs with them, and we're going to start getting our signals and stuff running through those first to bring that traffic because we've got massive audiences. So the persuasion layer that Russell taught us about last week, well, we take that and we stack it onto the framework and we start pushing it through our posts, and it hits the one feed and it syndicates out across the web, and you got those killer headlines, then that creates a click which brings the people back. So it's infinite loop that we're doing, and it's an open channel. It's a real-time channel. As we publish, we're publishing at the speed of thought. We're writing, we're publishing, and you can get people picking up that thread literally seconds later if they are actually watching your channel, because they too can actually grab the RSS feed and plug it into their own devices to follow what you are saying. So when you're broadcasting and using the one feed system, you're creating an environment where you have got one place, one interface that you use, that you communicate from, and it updates all your other social accounts that are relevant to your market that you're dealing in. Okay. Guys, it's basically a bit over the usual hour. Do you have any final questions? Are you guys clear on this one feed? Last thing to say is don't overthink it, don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple and grow with it, okay? It's not a train smash. It's not something that's like a voodoo science. We're just connecting properties up to make our day easier, to publish from one centralized place, and to have our message spread out across the web through all the main traffic places.
Yep, exactly.
That's essential.
And the more stable, the better. And that's what you're really looking for. You're looking to lower the weight on your blog so it doesn't slow the processes down, speed up your server, and Matt will get more into CDN stuff that Matt and I have worked on over the last year and a half. And all those things all work together like a symphony of speed, agility, power boosting for a domain authority, automation, and excellent downstream content delivery. And that's kind of what this entire training is kicking off. All right, you guys, this has been great. So you have your homework assignments. This recording will be up. I promise I won't wait until Monday to get this recording up. I got a little bit behind last week. I'll go ahead and get this up today, and I'll drop it into the Skype group. And we look forward to seeing you guys at the same bat time and same bat hour next week. Same bat cave.
Awesome.
All right, you guys, talk to you later. Thanks, Matt.
Cheers,
really appreciate
it.
Thanks, bye-bye.
No worries. Thanks, Russ. Good night, everyone. Vagero, I'm going to pass those files off to you. I've got them drilled. I'll get them sent through to you, okay? Okay, no worries. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm going to end this call now, and I'll see you guys during the week.